Hey everyone, welcome back to the Peptide Hormone Code series. If you caught our last episode on GHKCU, you're going deep into peptides that go way beyond GLP-1s that your doctor might have mentioned. Today, we're talking about a peptide that is, in my opinion, one of the most exciting compounds in longevity medicine right now. It's called SS31, also known as Elamipretide, and it targets the single most important thing your body does to keep you alive, which is producing energy. If you're a woman in your mid 40s and you're dealing with things like crushing fatigue, sleep, and brain fog that's affecting your performance at workouts that leave you wrecked instead of energized, this peptide might be the missing piece that your doctor has never heard of. So let's go ahead and get into it. So, what is SS31? Let me break this down. SS31 is a synthetic peptide made of just four amino acids. You might also see it called Elamipretide or Bendavia. Same thing, different names depending on the research context. Now, here's what makes this one completely different from the peptide we covered last time. GHK works on things like your skin, collagen, hair follicles, and it's largely about repair and regeneration, where SS31 goes somewhere else, entirely different pathway. You might hear that term a lot, pathway. It goes inside of your cells, straight to the mitochondria. So, quick biology refresher here. Your mitochondria are those powerful plants of every single cell in your body. They produce about 90% of your energy that you need to do things like think, move, breathe, recover, function. And when your mitochondria are struggling, you are struggling. That's not a metaphor. It's literally what's happening at the cellular level. The key innovation with SS31 is that it binds to something called cardiolipin. Cardiolipin is a special phospholipid that exists only in the inner mitochondrial membrane. Think of it as wiring inside your power plant, right? When the wiring gets damaged, things from aging and stress, hormonal shifts, that energy production starts to leak. Oxidative damage increases, and everything downstream starts to fail. SS31 stabilizes that wiring. It's the first peptide ever designed to repair mitochondria from the inside out. So that heal first approach that we love here, this is it, right? So why should you even care, girl? And the 30 to 45-ish window is when things like mitochondrial decline collides with hormonal shifts. Perimenopause, menopause, anyone? And the results is that exhaustion you can explain, right? In that 3 p.m. crash, you've had your coffee, you ate a decent lunch, you got 7 hours of sleep, and by mid-afternoon, you're done. You can barely keep your eyes open. You go get another coffee or sugar just to get through the day, right? That's not just stress. That's your cells not being able to produce enough ATP that your cellular energy currency needs, right? Mitochondrial decline begins in your 30s and accelerates from there. So it's really important. When your cells can't make enough energy, there's no amount of sleep and caffeine and supplements sitting on top of that broken engine that's going to fix, right? Second, this is huge for women specifically. Hormonal shifts damage mitochondria. Estrogen is actually protective of your mitochondria. It shields cardiolipin, the same structure that SS31 targets. So as estrogen declines during perimenopause, your mitochondria lose that protection. So oxidative stress goes up. Efficiency for your energy, it goes down. And this is where SS31 steps in, exactly where estrogen steps out. And now I will say, side note, it is important for this reason if you haven't had hormone checks and you don't know about HRT yet. This is a place where starting with HRT is so important because it's the baseline for a lot of these peptides to really take off and give you the best results. Side note over. Third is your heart. The heart is the most mitochondria dense organ in your body, and it has to beat around 100,000 times a day, and it needs so much energy to do that. As cardiovascular risk increases for women after 35, the cardioprotective effects of SS31 become especially relevant. And fourth, that brain fog, right? Your neurons are extraordinarily energy hungry cells. So when mitochondria function declines in brain tissue, you feel it as sort of like brain fog, poor focus, forgetting what you were about to say mid-sentence. I know that was me. And the research shows SS31 reduces mitochondrial oxidative stress in the brain and it improves that cognitive function. It's not just another nootropic, it's literally plugging in that power supply to your brain. So let me walk you through the 5 mechanisms that make SS31 so powerful. I'm going to keep these practical because understanding how it works helps you understand why it's worth paying attention to. Number one, cardiolipin binding. This is the signature mechanism, right? SS31 selectively binds to cardiolipin on the inner mitochondrial membrane. That stabilizes the structure called cristae. And think of it as these folds inside your mitochondria where the energy production actually happens. So when the cristae are damaged, the cells die. SS31 prevents that, especially in energy demanding tissues like your heart and your brain. Number two, electron transport chain optimization. Your mitochondria produce energy through a chain of chemical reactions called the electron train transport chain. Say that 10 times fast. When this change has leaks, that energy escapes as damaging free radicals instead being converted to ATP. SS31 enhances the flow through complex 1 and complex 3, and that reduces those leaks and starts to boost actual usable energy production. So super important. Number three, ROS scavenging. ROS actually stands for reactive oxygen species. These are the free radicals that damage your DNA, your cell membranes, your mitochondria themselves. It's a vicious cycle that damage mitochondria produce more free radicals, which then damage them further. So SS31 sort of breaks that cycle directly by neutralizing superoxides and hydroxyl radicals while also activating your body's own antioxidant enzymes. SOD, catalase, and glutathione. So incredibly important there. Number four, anti-inflammatory. SS31 suppresses, again, that NF signaling and that same master inflammatory switch we talked about in GHK. This reduces IL-6, TNF-alpha, and IL-1 beta. That's the inflammatory cytokines that drive chronic fatigue, brain fog, joint pain, and that puffy inflamed feeling that so many women in their 40s and their late 30s deal with. Finally, number five, mitochondrial biogenesis. This is my favorite one. SS31 activates PCG1 alpha and NRF1, which are the pathways that tell your body to build brand new mitochondria, not just repair the old ones. That's so important. Create fresh, healthy, fully functional mitochondria so your body literally starts to produce new power plants. Pretty exciting stuff. It's literally age reversal. So if that's not enough for you, I don't know what is. So what does all that mean? How you feel day to day? Let me break it down into these two categories. On the energy, performance, and recovery side, SS31 restores ATP production when you're fatigued, energy depleted cells, right? That 3 p.m. crash that we talked about, this addresses it at the cellular level. It improves exercise endurance and workout recovery. So your HIIT class, your lifting session actually builds you up instead of tearing you down for 3 days. It supports muscle function during hormonal transitions, again, and reduces mitochondrial strain that comes from chronic stress and HPA axis fatigue. So on the opposite side, on the protection side, it's cardioprotective, reducing damage from things that are going to your heart, right? Ischemic heart damage. It's neuroprotective, so it preserves cognitive function and clearing that brain fog, and it protects your kidneys from oxidative damage. Who doesn't want that? And it also calms systemic inflammation through specific pathways, and it promotes biogenesis, so your body building brand new healthy mitochondria. We love that. What I want you to hear is this: SS31, not treating symptoms. It's addressing root cause of why you're exhausted, foggy, why you're not recovering. Your mitochondria are failing, and this peptide helps to fix them. So, practical application here. And it's important to have a distinction here from our last episode. With GHK, there's really two routes, topical and injectable. And with SS31, it's injectable only. And there's good reason for that, right? SS31 needs to reach your mitochondria. And you can't get there by rubbing a cream on your skin or by taking a pill because our gut has a lot going on in there and we won't get the full benefit. So, subcutaneous injection is really the only way to achieve this systemic delivery. And it's actually what makes it so powerful because every mitochondria-rich tissue benefits simultaneously. Your heart, your brain, your kidneys, muscles, all at one time. One thing that sets SS31 apart from other peptides is it does have FDA breakthrough therapy designation. So that means FDA fast-tracked it early because early clinical data was so promising for mitochondrial myopathy. This is not some weird underground compound with zero clinical backing. This has been through real supervised clinical trials. For dosing, as always, this is educational, this is entertainment. Please work with your practitioner and reassess to make sure that things are right for you. Same with reconstitution. Always use practitioner guidance here. So Evidence time. And this is really where SS31 shines compared to a lot of other peptides because it has some trial data, not just animal studies, human clinical trials. First, the Power 3 trial. This was a randomized clinical trial published in Neurology in 2023, and colleagues showed that SS31 improved ATP production and mitochondrial health in patients with primary mitochondrial myopathies. This was so compelling that the FDA granted it breakthrough therapy designation. So, for context, that's a really high bar. The FDA doesn't hand that out casually. Second, cardioprotection. So, published in the Journal of the American Society of Nephrology in 2013, shows that SS31 literally re-energized oxygen-starved mitochondria and significantly reduced heart tissue damage. They demonstrated this in both human and animal models. So, if you're a woman in your 30s or 40s with any kind of cardiovascular concerns, this data should be on your radar. Third, neurodegeneration and brain health. So this was published in Frontiers in Aging Neuroscience in 2021, showing that SS31 reduced mitochondrial oxidative stress in Alzheimer's disease models, improved cognitive function, and enhanced neuronal survival. They also showed improved hippocampal connectivity in aged rats after prolonged neuroinflammation. So that's pretty cool. It literally helped aging brains work better by fixing that energy supply. Fourth, kidney protection. So this showed that SS31 alleviated renal mitochondrial dysfunction and reduced oxidative damage in kidney disease models. So your kidneys are the filtration machines that require a lot of energy, and they're one of the first organs to suffer when mitochondria start to decline. So all this breadth of research tells you something important. This isn't some weird niche peptide. It's addressing really key fundamental mechanisms that drive aging in every single organ. And we do have some anecdotal and social proof. And from the clinical data, we have that, but we also have what actual women are experiencing in the real world, because I think this really tells you the whole picture. And the most common report I hear from this is about energy after a cycle, saying by week 2, week 3, they stopped needing that afternoon coffee, not because they're forcing themselves to stay awake or they got a nap, but because sustained energy is just there. And that's really important. Cognitive function is the second biggest one. Women who are forgetting things mid-sentence, losing their train of thought, forgetting people's names, feel like they were operating at maybe 60%. Now they're coming back after maybe an 8-week cycle with that fog lifted. And their teams notice, their partners notice, and now they're just hitting the ground running. So workout recovery is another one that shows up early. So the DOMS, delayed onset muscle soreness, that used to last 2 or 3 days, can be recovered from in less time. So that's pretty cool. And here's the one that catches people off guard is cardiovascular improvements. And women notice their resting heart rate start to drop, their cardiologist commenting on improved numbers, and their wearables showing data they hadn't seen in years or maybe ever. So that's the power of fixing your mitochondria, and it shows up everywhere. Now let's talk about some quick safety again. Rules still apply as always. Follow your practitioner, follow their advice. But the good news is that SS31 is one of the strongest clinical safety profiles of literally any peptide in this space. Remember, this has been through FDA supervised clinical trials and not just animal studies. So real humans, real monitoring, real data, and it's recorded, which we love. So some common side effects here, but always follow again practitioner guidelines. And just comparing these to some of the other peptides in the longevity space, because you might be thinking, I've heard of other things for mitochondrial longevity, and how is this different from things like NAD or MOTS-c or L-Carnitine? And that's an amazing question. And let's break it down. Love MOTS-c as well. This one's also a mitochondrial derived peptide that's fantastic for things like metabolic regulation. It activates a different pathway, so it's the AMPK pathway, and think of it as an exercise mimetic. And it's great for things like insulin resistance, fat loss, metabolic flexibility, and it works by regulating how we're using energy. It doesn't repair mitochondria themselves. So some people like to heal first, use SS31, pair the mitochondria, and then use the benefits of that to amplify how they react off of MOTS-c. It's just one way to do it, and there's many ways to do it. NAD is the coenzyme that's really critical for energy production and DNA repair. It activates sirtuins, which are involved in aging, circadian rhythm regulation. NAD is important, but it's a fuel for the mitochondrial engine. Again, it doesn't fix the engine. So great energy co-parent, so to speak. L-carnitine, that one actually transports fatty acids into your mitochondria so that you can utilize that for energy. So it's really about nutrient partitioning and targeting how we use energy. It's great for fat metabolism, for brain fog, especially acetyl L-carnitine. But again, it's bringing the fuel to the door. It's not a repair model. SS31 is really the only peptide that enters the mitochondria and repairs the membrane itself. And it's the only one that binds to cardiolipin. Also, only one with the FDA designation. So it's a really unique piece. And honestly, for women in this range, they can benefit with any of these working synergistically together. So again, SS31 repairs the engine, NAD gives the fuel, MOTS-c optimizes how it runs, and L-carnitine feeds it fat to burn. So in my opinion, if you're choosing a place to start, you would fix the engine first. Some key takeaways here, SS31, obviously the only peptide, again, that enters and repairs the inner mitochondrial membrane. It's not a band-aid for energy. It's not like a quick fix. It really targets the root cause of aging fatigue. It has that FDA breakthrough therapy designation, making it very validated, not just anecdotal data. And it's especially powerful for women navigating things like perimenopause because it protects exactly the mitochondrial structures that estrogen used to shield. The benefits span energy and brain clarity, recovery, heart health, systemic inflammation, and really, it is the subcutaneous. So again, S31 for women, it's for people that are tired of being tired and burnt out and ready to fix the problem at a core level. So if this is helpful, subscribe, turn on notifications. The next episode, we're actually going to dive into a popular one, Retatrutide, which is a triple threat metabolic peptide that's producing the most dramatic fat loss results that we've ever seen in clinical trials. And it's going to be really fun to go through that. And if you're a badass, high achieving woman who wants to go beyond generic advice and actually understand the science of what's happening in your body, that's what the peptide hormone code is all about. DM me, check the link in the description, and I'll see you in the next one.